So I'm just going to make this real brief, but many of you know that a couple years ago God healed me while I was standing up here doing worship. I was diagnosed with lupus, and I was diagnosed with a muscle disease called myasthenia gravis. And I had gotten really bad. I got to the point where I was choking on my tongue after worship. A lot of you guys didn't know that, but I'd start gagging while I was singing. And I'd have to hurry up and get down off the platform and go to Dad's office because I felt like I was going to get sick because my throat muscles were really weak. That's part of it. And I was having to take medicine just to be able to stand up here long enough, just really in bad shape. And it was prophesied by Sister McNeely that God would heal me one day while I was up doing worship. So I was up here singing It As Well. And I hadn't told anybody that. I had my eyes closed and I wasn't even thinking about that really. I was just worshiping the Lord and trying to stay focused and get through it. And God said, I'm healing you right now. This is the moment. And I opened my eyes and Sister Verna Terry was sitting on the platform right here.
Yeah.
And she looked at me and she said, right now, you're getting healed. She mouthed that to me. And I knew in that moment that's what God was doing. From that moment on, I laid down all my medication and was completely well. I would go through sickness and I'd pull right up out of it, which is something I could never do before. I'd get sick and it'd put me down for months. Well, in October, at the end of October, I started noticing something wasn't right. I started going through several viral illnesses, one right after another. It was just really putting me down. And I started having these symptoms coming on me that looked like what I had before. And I thought, no, Satan, God has already healed me. I'm not playing that game with you. I got so bad with infection, my white blood cell count went through the roof, and I ended up not being able to stay conscious. I was at home sitting in the chair, and I started losing consciousness. So Kelsey would help me down on the floor, and then I'd begin to convulse. And then it got to where I couldn't stay conscious laying in the floor, so they had to call the EMTs out to get me. And they got me in the hospital and gave me IV antibiotics, couldn't figure out where the infection was. I was so weak that my whole body just trembled and shook, and I could barely speak. I had no voice because I was so weak. And they were worried that if I picked up another illness that it could kill me. And that's why I came in here with a mask on at times. But it put me back in a wheelchair. I was shaking again. I was weak. All these symptoms were coming up on me to the point where recently then I started carrying a bunch of fluid in my abdomen, on my knees, up into my thighs. I've been on a whole foods diet, basically sort of like a Daniel fast kind of thing. And I put on 10 pounds in a week doing that. And so I knew that things were bad, in my body. And so even though I'd been coming here sitting down on the piano and playing, I still had really been struggling. Well, the word had come to us that this was just a facade, that the enemy was trying to mimic symptoms of what I'd had before.
Right.
And so the doctors are trying to throw these medications back at me and tell me you need to go back on these things because they had verified my healing with blood work and everything. But now these new symptoms are coming up and they're saying, oh, you've relapsed, we need to go back on this. And I said, no. I've not touched any of it. So yesterday, I had ended up, after I saw you guys Wednesday night, I got a really bad upper respiratory virus on top of everything else. And yesterday they had a healing service, of course, right before that, Sister Tyner came and prayed for me also. But they had that healing service over at True Vine that I was telling you guys about. Well, when I walked in there, I had to hold on to Frank. I couldn't walk in on my own power. My knee was so painful. I was trying to get ready, and I had turned just slightly like this to turn around to go back into my room from the bathroom, and it just shot pain down my leg and almost put me on the ground. I was still so swollen in my abdomen that I had to wear a big flowy shirt because I looked like I was just pregnant. And I didn't have any voice. When Mom and Dad saw me, it was nothing but gravel coming out, just no voice, hacking my lungs up when they came and saw me yesterday. And so I get to the service and I'm like, this is it.
Right.
I'm not leaving here
That's it.
until I come out home.
Amen. Yeah.
And so they called me up to pray for me, and I noticed I could put weight on my leg. Like my knee doesn't hurt anymore, right? So that's the first thing I noticed. Then I noticed like I don't feel like I need to cough anymore. It was just about every breath I was wanting to really cough, and it was really hard. I was having to, put cough drops in my mouth the whole service. And so I felt a little bit stronger in my legs, and like, this is good. Well, they get done praying for me, and I go sit down, and God said, you're not holy yet. And I knew I wasn't, because after they prayed for me, we started praying for Frank, and I could still feel my muscles burning in my legs because they weren't firing right, and I was wanting to fall down. Feels like I'm doing squats, just standing there for a few minutes, And so I walked back up and I said, I didn't come here for halfway.
Yeah, that's it.
I came here for all the way, and I'm going to leave this place whole.
Perfect.
so I went back up and they started praying for me, and a couple of ladies came from around the congregation and they wrapped themselves around my legs and started praying. The next thing I know, all that burning goes away. I feel the power and the strength of God move up into my body, and I go from having no voice at all to screaming, "Hallelujah! Then I start twisting around in circles. It was all I could do not to just bust out and kick the ladies that were standing in front of me, because God, the anointing had come on me so strong. Now, you know, as soon as I left that place, as soon as I left that place, the enemy tried to sneak back in little ways, you know. A little bit of coughing, a little bit of pain in my knee. I woke up this morning and said, "Satan, you're a liar. I know that I've been healed. I'm going to stand on that platform today, over the song service. I'm going to praise God." And that's a miracle. I couldn't even stand long enough to fix the kids a meal. Okay, I'd have to sit down and get back up and sit down and get back up. God is good. He still heals today. You don't let go. You grab a hold of